Hello, Miriam.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, doing okay. You enjoying this beautiful weather?
Not,
No.
no, because it's cough, flu.
Oh no. Yeah, my allergies have caused some problems. So, all right. Well, anyway, guys, why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm sure some other people will be joining us this morning. So maybe again, maybe everyone's still sleeping. Right. So, all right. Well, guys, it is Monday, September 9th. So good to see everybody here this morning. Now, again, I thought what we would do is take some time to review the expressions we have been learning here for the first few weeks of class. Now, I understand, we missed a class last week because of Labor Day. And sometimes when you miss a day, people forget stuff and, they forget to review things. So I thought we would take some time to review our new expressions here from the first few weeks. And if we don't remember everything, well, that's okay. We're here to practice with those here today as well. So we're going to review those expressions, and when we're finished today, of course, I'm going to share our answers, our expressions with the group, and then, of course, our goal here today is to try to finish our first lesson with talking about setting smart goals. Okay, so that's really our goal here today, is to finish our own goals. So as we said before, we want to try to review, again, every 3 weeks or so, we're going to review our expressions, the expressions we have been learning in this session. So we're going to see how much we remember. Now, of course, if we don't remember everything, that's okay. Some expressions you'll probably remember very well. Some of them maybe a long time ago. It's almost been a month. Can you believe it? It was almost a month ago that we started. So anyway, let's see how we're doing. Now, for this first activity, you can use the chat or the microphone. Probably the mic would be easier. So the goal here is to see what we remember. So I've taken out words from these expressions. Let's see if we can remember these expressions. So these were the first expressions we learned right at the beginning of the session. So we were talking about welcoming people. So does anyone remember the first expression? To welcome with what kind of arms? Anyone remember? If you look at the pictures, they'll help you there. Carmen, you got an idea?
Open.
Let's see if you're correct. Congratulations. You are correct. So to welcome someone with open arms. And if you notice, everyone in the pictures here, they look very friendly. They're ready to give a hug, perhaps. Maybe if you're from a place where hugging is common. So to welcome someone in a very excited way, you're pleased to see them. We're welcoming you with open arms. Yeah. So in this case, maybe when you go back to visit family, maybe you feel this way. They're welcoming you with open arms. Big hug, big smiles. So. All right, so there's our first one, open arms. Okay, what about the next one here? Here's another expression of welcoming. So if you notice the little mouse there is sweeping this place just outside of our front door. So we said this expression is to put out the welcome. Anyone remember?
Map.
Oh, you're almost close there. Very close. Mat. Yeah, so maybe you said mat. Yeah, so the mat is that part we have in front of the door, right? So we say this expression just means welcome to the house. We're putting out the welcome mat. We're ready to receive you as a guest here in our house. And again, maybe it's for the first time. Now, I'm very interested to know here from the class, how many of you have a welcome mat in front of your front door? It doesn't have to say welcome. How many of you just have a welcome mat? It could be any kind of mat in front of your door. Does anyone have one of those? Okay. Sometimes you might see people put their name, on the mat. They might say, "Welcome to, the Hernandez's house," or "Welcome to the Reynolds house," for example. Well, so I went outside yesterday. We have 3 welcome mats in front of our house, in front of our front door. I don't know why people just gave us mats over the years, so we put 3 of them in front of our house, right? So you think, oh, 3 mats. That means you welcome people 3 times, right? 3 times. Here's the problem. Nobody visits us. That's the problem here. Nobody comes to visit. We put out the welcome mats. No one comes. So I don't know. Maybe we need more mats. Maybe we need like 5 or 6. So I don't know. So anyway, we put out the welcome mat, right? We say hello. We welcome people into our house. Now, again, this one you may not remember, but this expression originally came from when people would go on boats. We use this expression now with any kind of transportation or even when we're welcoming someone to the team. Does anyone remember this one? This is something you might say to someone. Welcome.
Aboard.
Wow, you guys are good. All right, welcome aboard. Yeah, so this, as I said before, this expression came from the time we would go on ships. We would board a boat. Now, of course, now we have boarding on a plane, right? So maybe you've heard this before from the captain. They might say, welcome aboard, flight so-and-so, going to, New York City. Or sometimes we're in the airport and we listen for the messages and they'll say, now boarding, passengers, first class, second class, and so on. So in this case, we use this expression now just for everybody. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the group. Welcome aboard. Right? So welcome to maybe your new position. Hey, you guys are doing great so far. Excellent. Okay, so this next one, we were talking a little bit about health issues. So this first expression was something as a fiddle. You remember this one? Very short word.
Fit.
Wow, Raquel, very good. Fit
Fit
as
as a
a
fiddle.
fiddle. That's right. So maybe, hopefully, everyone is feeling fit as a fiddle this morning. I think poor Miriam said maybe there's some sick flu or something going around. I hope not, but I know for this time of year, allergies are always a problem, right? The changing weather, things happen. So when someone says they're fit as a fiddle, that means they're in excellent physical condition. Maybe they've even recovered from an illness. Maybe they were sick before and now they're feeling better. They might say, now I'm feeling fit as a fiddle. And you might remember that the word fiddle, you might say again, what does that mean, fiddle? Well, fiddle is kind of a slang term for the word violin. So again, in classical music, right, when they play the violin, right, well, the fiddle is the same instrument, but they use the word fiddle because it's more like for country music or for, as I mentioned here in Kentucky, we have bluegrass music. So fiddle is kind of a different, more casual kind of music. But we call it a fiddle. We call it fit as a fiddle because a fiddle has a very, very nice shape. So in this case, that's one of the reasons why they use it, right? It looks very thin, very good shape. So in this case, now we just use it to mean we're in good shape, right? Fit as a fiddle. All right. Ooh, now this one was a kind of a 3-part expression, a something up something. And for example, we use this expression when someone says they probably should stop smoking or they need to make a change in their life because something happened to them. Anyone remember this one? This one we may not remember. Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you a hint. Sometimes when you would stay at a hotel, you would ask them to, help you, in the mornings, perhaps so that you wouldn't sleep too late. Can you remember this?
Wake up.
A wake up. Oh, we need one more word. Okay, I'll help you out, Carmen. The first letter is C. Next letter, A.
Call.
Oh, very good. I couldn't give you any more letters because then I'd give you the answer. So there it is. Yes. So if you remember, we call that a wake-up call. Now, a wake-up call, now, of course, today we have cell phones, right? So you probably put the alarm on your phone and it wakes you up when you need to wake up. But remember, in the old days, if you stayed at a hotel or a motel, you might call the desk and say, could you give me a wake-up call for 6 o'clock in the morning, right? And then they would call you. So we use this expression now for any moment in our lives where we need to make a change. Maybe you were smoking and then you had some heart problem. You might say, okay, I need to change. This was a wake-up call. I need to make a change in my life. So again, I need to exercise more, or I need to stop eating bad food or stop smoking. So we often call those moments a wake-up call. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be just for health. If you remember, like we said, we could use it for many things. For example, maybe you're driving your car and your car keeps giving you problems, or maybe your vision needs, you need new glasses, and you have an accident. You say, okay, I need to go to the doctor and change my glasses, for example. So it doesn't have to be just a health issue. It could be many things where you feel like you need to make a big change. This was the moment I understood I need to make that change. So we call that a wake-up call. All right, now this one's easy. You might remember this one. We even watched a commercial.
A couch potato.
Okay, yeah. Notice we say couch potato, by the way. We don't say like a couch vegetable or a couch fruit. For some reason, we say potato. And if you remember, that's partly because we're not exercising. But the other reason is a lot of people like to eat snacks when they're on the couch, right? So watching TV all day, maybe looking at their phones. So, but we don't have couch potatoes in this class, right? No couch potatoes, right? Any couch potatoes here? No. Maybe a little couch potato. By the way, do you know what we call a baby potato? Does anyone know what we call a baby potato? Anybody? Okay, so we call them spuds. Okay, we call them spud. So you don't have to be a couch potato, but is anybody here maybe a couch spud? Maybe you're just a little bit of a couch potato. No couch spuds. I don't know. I don't think you're being honest. I think some of us, we like to be couch spuds.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, Ezra says sometimes, maybe on Saturdays. Yeah. Of course, I don't know. If you have kids, it's hard to be a couch potato. Yeah. Okay. Now, we also talked about what happens when people stay too long. We mentioned tourism, right, in many places. In fact, I've seen many articles. Do you remember that we watched the Greek island of Santorini? Well, just this weekend, Greece finally decided that they are going to limit the number of cruise ships because it was just becoming a big problem. Just this weekend, they announced it. So, yeah, it's a big problem. But does anyone remember this one? What happens when we stay too long? So we said to something one's welcome. Anyone remember this one? Okay. Go ahead.
Overstay.
That's right.
To
To
overstay
overstay one's welcome. And we also said that another expression is to wear out one's welcome. So to wear out, for example, we wear clothes, right? We wear clothes, but if we wear them and they're not really, they get holes or they're not very good anymore, we would say that we wore out our clothes. Now we can use that for anything. We wore out, if the TV stops working, we say, oh, we wore it out. We can use it for many different purposes. But basically what it means is we stayed too long. We overstayed our welcome. So in this case, you might hear somebody say, go home. So we saw that with our tourism situation, right? Many countries, people protesting, they have signs that say, tourist, go home. Tourist, go home. Yeah, so hopefully that's not going to happen for you, but still. All right, do you remember this one? This one was talking about when we have that extra person that's probably not welcome here. We said, for example, a third, or sometimes we also use a fifth. You remember this one?
Wheel.
That's right.
I remember that.
You remember this one. Oh, is this because you were the third wheel, Raquel?
Yeah, because my best friend sometimes she don't want to get out by herself. Or she always asks me, "You wanna go?" No. I don't want to be a third wheel.
Oh, so you've heard this one before. Okay. Well, so we use both expressions the same way. Basically, as someone who is not welcome or uninvited. So if it's a couple, like a boyfriend, girlfriend kind of situation, maybe the sister comes along, so knows she's the third wheel. And then down here, I do think this is kind of funny. This young woman here doesn't realize that I'm the fifth wheel, like I'm causing problems here. Here are two couples. They're probably not very happy. By the way, I don't know if you look very carefully, that is Taylor Swift, and I'm not sure which boyfriend this one is, so who knows. But anyway, so third wheel or fifth wheel. All right, and then finally, last week we talked about another set of expressions when there are too many people. So who can remember this particular fish? To be packed like... Anyone remember? These are very disgusting to eat.
Sardine.
Sardines. That's right. Now, I think I asked people here in the class, right? I asked if you guys like sardines. Who said they liked sardines? Anyone say here they liked sardines? Okay. All right. Well, Carmen, I guess we'll still let you keep taking the class. So, sardines are terrible and disgusting. So you can have all the sardines you want, because I don't want them. So, but anyway, someone said, Mr. John, you've never had a real sardine. You need to eat a real sardine. And my answer is, I don't want a real sardine. They're terrible. So there you go. But anyway, to be packed like sardines means too many people in a small space. So sardines in a container, for example. It's kind of nice being online, though, isn't it? We don't feel packed like sardines here, do we? Yeah, it's not so crowded. All right, and then finally, this one was related to this particular insect. So we mentioned bees. So I don't know if you remember the first one, a hive of... This one's probably so obvious, you're probably not even thinking about it. Starts with the letter A. You probably know this word. We use it a lot. I'll keep spelling.
Active.
You're close. Activity. Yes, activity. And then what about the last one? You might remember this one. Something as a bee.
Busy.
That's right. Busy as a bee. Right, so maybe you feel this way, right? Actually, I think this describes Carmen pretty well. Carmen and I were talking at the beginning of class. What was it, Carmen? You were cleaning closets and cleaning carpets and fixing all kinds of stuff, right? So we can say Carmen was as busy as a bee. Yeah. So a hive of activity just means a lot of people looks like they're doing something. So that's where we get the expression. It comes from these bees, and that's what a hive is. A hive is kind of like a home for all the bees. So, all right, hey, you guys did a great job. I got news for you: the evening class did not do so well. So you guys did much better. All right, here is a bonus question. Okay, I don't know if you remember this expression. This one came from Benjamin Franklin. He did not create it, but he made it popular. So let's see if you can remember this one. Guests like blank begin to smell after how many days? So let's start with the number. Do you remember how many days they start to smell? I don't remember the number.
3.
Okay, so we got 3. And then do you remember which animal or which food begins to smell?
Fish.
Fish. That's right. Now, Raquel, I'm curious. Do we have something like this in Spanish?
Oh, yes.
What is it in Spanish?
In Spanish, it's the same thing. Las visitas hieden al tercer día. O
I got you. Okay. Okay. I think I remember that now. Okay. Yeah. So this guests like fish begin to smell after 3 days. Now, of course, this expression is not, again, he just kind of made it popular. This is not, people say it many different ways. So Brenda, you got another variation on this?
I think it's something like the death and the arrimado. I don't know what is in English. A los 3 días apesta, and the 3rd day smell.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, it's for some reason 3 is the number. Yeah. So there you go. There's something magic about the number 3, perhaps. So anyway, okay. So that's your bonus question for the morning. So you guys did really well. Okay. Now, I thought what we would do, just to kind of finish our quick review, is let's do a little class activity. So in this activity, you, the class, will be my partner in this dialogue. So the idea is I will say the first part of the dialogue, but you will not be able to see the answer. Now, here's what I would like to do. I'd like to use the chat for this exercise. So everyone will go to the chat, and you're going to basically answer as a class A, B, or C for the answer. Okay, so no microphones. Let's use the chat. Now, let's do a little example. Okay, so let me get my part of the dialogue ready. And then on the right side of the screen, there are your 3 choices. for a response. Okay, so let me get this ready. So I'm going to say my part of the dialogue, which you will not be able to see, and then you will choose which one is the correct response. And in the chat, you'll put A, B, or C. Okay, so here is my part of the dialogue. Okay, so I'm going to repeat it 2 times. I think we've worn out our welcome here. I think we've worn out our welcome here. Okay, so in the chat, if you think it's A, yeah, I think it's time to go. B, I'm feeling pretty lazy today. Or C, this was a wake-up call. So go to the chat and put which one you think is the answer, A, B, or C. I think we've worn out our welcome here. Okay, all right, so looks like pretty much everyone has responded. And if you responded with A, you are correct. So in this case, here's what I said. I said, I think we've worn out our welcome here. So worn, if you remember, is the participial form of the word wear out. So worn out the welcome. There you go. Okay, so I think we understand the exercise. All right, so if we're ready, let's begin. Okay, so again, look at your 3 choices over on the right side. Okay, so now I'm going to speak. My mom says we need to bring my little brother on our date tonight. Is that okay? My mom says we need to bring my little brother on our date tonight. Is that okay? Okay. All right. So it looks like most people have responded. All right. Now this one's a little tricky, but the answer is B. So again, look what I said. My mom says we need to bring my little brother on our date. Now, I guess the question is, what do I mean by date? What does that mean? Who could explain what a date is?
It's when a couple meet in some place or a coffee or dinner.
Yeah, so basically a couple. That's the key word, 2 people, right? So, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing. So in this case, I don't think we want little brother to join us, right? So maybe if you were, when you were a teenager, your parents said, take your little brother with you or take your little sister, and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to take them. There'll be a 3rd wheel. So in this case, not so nice, not so good. All right. Okay, here is the next one. All right, everyone, look at your 3 choices. Okay, all right, now here is my part. Yesterday, I started feeling really tired and dizzy. The doctor said that if I don't reduce my salt intake, I could have a heart attack soon. Yesterday, I started feeling really tired and dizzy. The doctor said that if I don't reduce my salt intake, I could have a heart attack soon. Okay, all right. Looks like everyone has responded, and you are correct. That is a wake-up call. Yeah, so look at what I said. I started feeling tired and dizzy, right? So that's kind of the first sign, right? The first moment I realized, oh, something could be happening to me. So I need to reduce my salt. Don't eat as much salt, or I could have a heart attack. Yeah, so this is a wake-up call. Okay, very good. All right, here's the next one. Okay, look at the 3 choices. Okay, now I'm going to speak. Well, first I had to go pick up my laundry. Then I needed to stop by the grocery store. After that, I had to volunteer at my kid's school and help make 30 snacks. And then I had to pick up my friend at his job and take him to his mother's house. Whew. I was going to say if I needed to repeat it, but it looks like everybody here probably knows exactly the situation. All right. So yes, you are as busy as a bee. All right. So guys, does this describe your typical day, by the way? For the moms here in the class, is this your typical day? Yeah. Pilar, is this your everyday life?
Yes, Mr. John.
Oh no! Well, where does wait? I don't see English class in this list. Where is English class? Is it somewhere in the middle of this? It's hard, isn't it? I know you guys are busy. So in this case, yeah, that's how it is being a parent. Okay. All right. Here's the next one. All right. So everyone, look at your choices. All right. So I'm going to speak. Oh, goodness. It's really crowded in here. I feel very claustrophobic. Goodness, it's really crowded in here. I feel really claustrophobic. Okay. All right. Everyone looks like they've got the answer, and you are correct. Yeah, we're packed like sardines here. Now, do you guys remember this word from last week? Claustrophobic? Does anyone remember this word? Anyone explain it? Carmen, what does it mean? Claustrophobic.
It's when you are fair or something, you are
Okay, so
scared.
Well, it's a fear of what?
Or something like water or an animal.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about phobias. Yes, that's what a phobia is. But specifically, what is claustrophobia?
Claustrophobic, like most people.
Most people you think have claustrophobia, really? Well, let's see. Brenda, what were you?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. Stay with places who are too small.
Yeah, so claustrophobia is when you feel like you're in too small of a space. Now, maybe Pilar, if there's a lot of people there, you'll feel like that. Yes. So in this case, you feel like you're trapped in a small space. So if we think about it, right? Trains, subways. So, and sometimes you might feel that way anyway. Maybe some of you don't like small spaces, but if you feel like there are a lot of people, you might feel very claustrophobic. Okay. All right, guys, we have one more. Here we go. Here is the last one. Look at your three choices. Okay. All right. Here is my part. Oh, yeah. Last week I was pretty sick, but now I'm as fit as a fiddle. Yeah. Last week I was pretty sick, but now I'm as fit as a fiddle. Okay. All right. So it looks like everyone has responded, and you are correct. That would be a good thing, right? So I'm glad to hear it. All right. Excellent, guys. Okay. Well, once again, I will share all of the expressions we've been learning so far from the first few weeks of class. So always good to review those. And just remember, hey, practice using them. Use them in your everyday life. They're always, that's the best way to learn. Okay, now guys, we're getting close to finishing our first lesson for this semester, and our goal here today is to finish with our vocabulary. So that's really what we're going to do here this morning. So I'm going to bring up the document that we have been working with. Now, I think pretty much everybody here, you've been in my classes before. So what I'm going to be talking about here this morning is not going to be necessarily new information, but it will be a good idea to review this information. So I'm going to bring this up here on the screen, and let me find it here. Okay. So we actually completed this document in our evening class. So today we're gonna complete it here, and the idea is we're going to look at. We've pretty much talked about every expression except for these four. So I'm going to highlight them here on the screen. screen. So let me highlight these right now. Sorry, guys. For some reason, they all disappeared. So let me highlight them here. Okay. And I think we had one more. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to switch over here for just a moment. So the 4 expressions we're going to talk about here. So again, I have the completed document. We completed it in the evening class. So we're just going to look at these 4 particular expressions to finish our part of the document. And then when we're finished, I will send you the completed document that we've been working on. So today we're going to look at these final 4 expressions. Chances are, determine, give up, and then finally, successfully. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do here this morning is, of course, we can talk about these words. You may know, some of you may know these expressions already, but I want to use this as an opportunity to once again introduce what are some things we can do in our own study, in our own experience, to learn words, to practice with words. Where can we go to find this information? Now, of course, if we've got smartphones, which pretty much everyone does, we can use Google Translate or some kind of translate app to help us. And again, that's fine. But I think really at this point, this is our advanced class, right? We want to try to not use our native language so much, especially when we're trying to learn an idea to how to use it. Now, of course, using our native language can help us, and Google Translate is very good. Now, it's gotten so much better when it comes to translating, expressions. But sometimes, of course, it's not always perfect, right? So sometimes when I'm teaching other classes and I have to use languages I don't know, I put them in the Google Translate, and sometimes I think, is this really the correct translation? Does this really make sense? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So, of course, what I would like to do this morning is to talk about how to use a good online dictionary. So that's what I would like to do here first this morning. So I'm going to take one of our words here. I'm going to take the word determine. Okay, determine. Now, I know this word exists in French, Spanish. I know you may have seen this word or understand this word in your own language. But the idea is I want to take a look and see how we can use an online dictionary. So we're going to introduce a dictionary here called the Collins Co-Build Dictionary. You've seen this before. I've used it before, but it's probably been a long time. So I'd like to go ahead and use it as our sort of example of how to think about using this dictionary. So we're going to take the word determine and we're going to put it in our dictionary. Now, first off, the nice thing about the online dictionaries, especially the Collins Co-Build, is we get to hear the pronunciation. We can see examples, we can see definitions, and especially how they use definitions. I think that's really the most important thing about this dictionary. So first off, let's listen to their pronunciation.
Determine, determine,
determine, determine, right? So you can practice that for a moment. Determine, determine, right? You can practice that. So now, if you remember, most of the time when we're looking at a dictionary, most of the time, the first definition is the definition we probably need to use. I'm not going to discuss today necessarily about all of the different meanings, but I think many of you took our reading class last year. You probably remember that words have more than one meaning, right? That's the thing we have to remember. So sometimes we look in the dictionary and say, which definition am I looking for? Well, remember, most of the time it's probably the first one. So let's think about that in our sort of context in the class. So let's take a look at the definition they are giving us for determine. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to ask Raquel, would you do us a favor and read this definition and the example for us?
Sure. If a particular factor determining the nature...
Let's try the pronunciation again. Determines.
Determines.
Mm-hmm.
Determines the nature of a thing or even is cause it to be of a particular kind.
Okay, now read the example. That might help us.
The size of the chicken pieces will determine the cooking time.
So, for example, Raquel, if I'm cooking pieces of chicken, if I have more pieces of chicken, how do you think that will determine how much time I need to cook this chicken? What do you think?
It's depending of how many chicken, the
So
size of the chicken.
So if I have bigger chicken and more pieces,
It's more time.
more time. Okay, so the number of chicken pieces will determine how much time I need.
Yes.
Okay, so now class, let's think for just a moment. Okay, when I'm teaching English, right? When I think about teaching a difficult topic, something that's difficult. Now class, what do you think about that? If the topic is difficult, how will that determine how much time I teach on the topic? What do you think? If the topic is more difficult, what do you think about the time? Will I need more or less?
More.
More time. Okay. So how difficult it is determines how much time I need. Okay. All right. Now let's think about it in some other situations, right? What are other things that determine what we do? For example, right? Where we are born. Where we are born, right? The country, maybe which part of the country, maybe depending on the professions of our parents, for example. How do those things determine what happens to us? Let's think about that for a moment. So, for example, where you are born might determine what? What do you think it might determine? What are some things we could say? Where I'm born determines what?
My culture.
Okay, well, let's be specific. Give me an example, Raquel.
For example, if I born in Venezuela, that is gonna determine my language.
Okay, so probably speaking a certain language.
Your nationality?
Well, definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's a good example. Yeah, where you're from, certainly. Maybe the types of food we prefer.
No.
You don't think so?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Carmen said no. What do you mean no, Carmen?
Because if you're born in Mexico or here in the United States, that's not determine what food would you like to eat in the future.
You think so? You really think
Yes.
so? Okay, I'm going to ask you to do an experiment, Carmen. I want you to interview some people from the United States and ask them if they prefer hamburgers, all right, hamburgers to some other food from your country. What do you think they're going to say?
Tamales.
Yeah, but you like tamales, see? See, I think you're determining my answer. Okay, maybe not 100%, Carmen. Okay, maybe not 100%, but let's be honest. Most Americans have probably never tried tamales, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's part of it. So I think it probably determines many things, right? Brenda, what else do you think my country might determine?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanna say something.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Go ahead.
Say, I think it's not determined that the what food you like it, because maybe what type of food you gonna eat, but no, what do you like it?
Well, give me an example. What's the difference? Wait a minute. What's the difference?
It's too different. Maybe my parents give me Mexican food,
Yeah.
but when I grow up, maybe I like more, I don't know, the Chinese food or Thai food or other foods more than my country food. I think that is more like a depend. What do you eat? No, what do you like to eat?
Okay. Okay.
Because when you are little, your parents give it to you
Mhm.
whatever they want to give it to you.
Sure.
But no, why do you like it?
Well, here's my first question to you, Brenda. When did you first try Chinese food?
When I have, I think 10 years old.
So I think you've just answered my question.
But I like it.
Yeah, but you had it when you were, young.
Yeah,
No,
the time.
they don't give it to me.
No, but you still ate it.
At the 10-year-old.
But you still had it when you were 10, right?
But they give me that food, Mexican food, and I
Okay.
grow up with that.
Okay, all right. I take your point, Brenda. We'll let you have that answer. Okay. All right. Well,
Determine my religion.
well, I mean, again, I think we could say, like, for example, that there are strong possibilities, right? Obviously, it will affect my language. It'll affect my religious, my background, for example. One country maybe compared to another. I think that's true. I definitely think that's true. Okay, well, so of course, when we say determine, the idea then, so let's look again at the dictionary. If you'll notice, the dictionary can often give us what are, if you remember, we call them synonyms, right? Synonyms, similar words. So take a look. We have words like affect or control, or I like this one, decide, right? It sometimes can decide. Now, you're right. All of you are correct. It's not 100%. But again, probably if you think about these possibilities, it does determine a lot. You know, where you grow up, what your parents, what your environment is, will probably determine a lot. I think so. But in this case, yes, of course, it's not 100%. That's true. But think about your parents and, for example, hair color or eye color or tall or short or the way we appear. You know, our genes, right? Our genetic situation. In fact, if you notice here at the second example, the gene, that determines a lot too, doesn't it? In terms of how tall we are, how short. Those things can often be determined by our parents' genetic situation. So in this case, when we think about determine, right, when something is determined, it kind of decides or kind of affects how we are, how we're going to behave. Now, again, let's click on the synonyms from the dictionary, and again, take a look at some of the synonyms they have come up with. So again, words like settle, conclude, right, decide, finish. So when something determines something, you finish is it kind of controls it. We could also use the word determine to look for something, to find out, to discover. I'm determined to find the answer, for example. I think most of us probably think of this one a lot, decide. We're choosing to do it, right? I'm determining like you said, Brenda, I determine my own food choices. I choose those things. So in this case, yes, to determine something really does affect or control what we do. It's not 100%, but it really does have a big, effect on that. Okay. All right. Now let's take a look at one more idea here. So from the Collins Dictionary, again, we can find definitions. We can look for synonyms. There's the pronunciation. But I want to show you one more thing. And some of you might remember this word. Does anyone remember this word here? I've circled it on the screen. Does anyone remember? How do we pronounce this word? Does anyone remember?
Collocations.
Very good. And Carmen, do you remember what collocations, what it means?
Yes, when you use two words and work together.
Excellent. Wow, Carmen. Wow, do you have a tattoo right here? Collocations. Right here in the shirt. Okay. You remember that very quickly. That's great. So collocations are words that work together naturally. So let's see what words work together with determine. So if I click on collocations, let's see what it comes up with. So these are just examples they have found online. Determine a location. This is a very interesting thing. For example, when I think about determining a location, I'm trying to decide where to have a party or where to go. Maybe you're you're trying to think about where to have a party for someone. Let's determine a location where we can go. Look at the next one. I like this one. Determine a winner. Hey, in July, the Olympics. Right. So in the Olympics, they determine who will win the gold medal, for example. So they'll determine the winner. Here's one: determine eligibility. So who can apply for something? We have to determine: are you from this particular group? Are you 18 years old? We're trying to determine whether you're eligible. So the word determine, again, very common word. We can use it for a lot of things. I like this one: determine the difference. Right, to find out the difference between something. So maybe you're going to buy 2 cars, and I need to determine the difference between this car and this car. Or I'm going to move to different places. Let's determine the difference between this city and this city. So when we think about determine, right, we try to think about control, decide, affect, right, everything we do. Now let's go back to our document. So now we think about determine, right? Determine. Well, so what definition do you think we could create here? Someone give me an idea. What could we say the word determine means? If we had to create our own definition, what do you think? Anyone have a thought? How could we define it with our own words? What could we say? Something that, what? Any thoughts? No ideas? Well, let's start with an example. That might help us. Okay, so for example, Raquel mentioned determining our language. So if I say, for example, where we are born determines what? Give us, what could we say there? Where we are born determines?
Your language.
Okay.
Culture.
Maybe culture. Possibly religion. Okay. Okay, so again, what could we say then? What does determine mean? Where we are born.
Decide, maybe.
Okay, decide. Affect. Maybe we could say influence. Okay.
Define.
Ooh, I like it. That's a really good one. I like that one. To define. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. See, now we have a better idea of how to use the word. Okay. All right. So in this case, when something's determined, it decides, it affects, it influences what we do. All right. Hey, we're off to a good start. Okay. All right. Now let's try one more by using the dictionary. Okay. So let's try give up. Now, first off, does anybody know what to give up means? What does it mean to give up? Does anyone have an idea?
Yes, it's when you don't want to quit to do something.
So I don't want to.
You want to cry.
So
if you fail, no matter what you do, you're gonna try to be better or do better.
Okay, so do you mean I should give up or I should not give up?
I should not give up.
Okay, so if I give up,
it's when I quit completely.
Ah, there we go. So now we got it. So for example, let's look at the definition. So it says if you give up something, you stop doing it, right? Or having it. So like you said, if I want to quit smoking, for example, I have to give up smoking, for example. Okay. Let's see if we can find another example here. If you give up, you decide you cannot do something. So I give up my, if I want to quit my job, I give up my job, for example. If I give up a place, if on the bus, for example. Let's see, I think there's another one here. Did we already see it? Okay. Oh, you stopped doing it. Okay. So if I click on synonyms, let's see what synonyms pop up. So abandon, for example. Yeah, so there's one example. There's quit. Okay, so if I quit something, I stop doing something. Okay, so if I give it up, I quit. Or, okay, stop doing it. Okay. Okay. All right. That's I think that's a good definition. To stop doing something, to quit doing it. Okay. All right. Hey, again, we're doing well here. We got 2 more. Let's take a look. And again, if we need the dictionary can be there to help us. All right, what about this word? I think this is a word that most of us know, but maybe we don't think about how to use. Successfully. What does it mean if we use the word successfully? If we do something successfully, what would be maybe a way we could describe it?
Finish something great.
Finish something great. Okay.
Improving.
Improving. So for successful, maybe we weren't successful before. Okay.
Have a victory.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Have a victory.
A victory. Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay.
To achieve something.
Okay. To achieve something. Yeah. Probably we could say to achieve something with a good result, I think might be helpful. All right. So let's pop in the dictionary for just a moment. Now, one thing we will notice is that sometimes when we look in the dictionary, sometimes we may not find the exact word. So, for example, I typed in successful because I don't know that we're going to directly find successfully. So let's type in successfully and let's see what happens. So if I type in successfully, notice what happened. It still came back to the word successful. So that's because usually the ly ending, right? This adverb, we don't normally find adverbs in the dictionary. We can find adjectives. So for example, successful, right? In this case, that would be a word we could find. So, but if I think about successfully, it's how we do it. So Miriam mentioned to achieve, right? So something that is successful achieves what was intended to achieve, what we were hoping to do. And if you notice down here, there is now the example with successfully. The doctors have successfully concluded, right? So they did it favorably, right? They did it well. In fact, I don't know if you guys remember this expression from maybe the summer session we mentioned with flying colors. Do you guys remember that expression? If we do something with flying colors? Maybe you might remember hearing that expression. So we passed the test with flying colors, right? We did it successfully. We did it well. Okay. All right. So looks like we answered that question successfully. So we got that one. All right. Excellent. Okay. And now let's finish with our last one, which is chances are. Has anyone heard this expression before? If I say chances are, again, you may have heard it before.
When you have the opportunity to do something.
Okay, well, certainly chance refers to opportunity, yes. Okay, so I think you're getting very close.
Possibility.
Possibility. Okay, now see, that one might be something we could find the definition for. So let's see if you're correct. So for chances are, it says here, the chances are likely. So in this case, I think you're correct. If we choose chances are, if something is likely, that sounds like it's possible. So in this case, that might be a good definition. Now, if you notice what it says underneath, it says, see the full dictionary entry for chance. So let's click on it and see what comes up. Okay, now, of course, we could use Google Translate. Yes, we could translate it. But let's look at the full definition of chance. So as I keep looking, so I see Miriam, there's that word possibility. So that sounds like a pretty good guess. So I think, Carmen, you were in the right direction. And then as I keep kind of going through, let's see if I can find chance, a chance. Okay, take a chance, more synonyms of chance, for example. So probably if I click on synonym, that might give us an idea. Yeah, so there it is, possibility. There you go. There you go, Carmen, opportunity. So I think we've got basically the idea. So if someone says chances are, right, we're talking about if the possibility is there, if the opportunity is there. So I think we did it. I think the dictionary gave us a good idea. Let's say if the possibility is there. Right. And so often we use this expression, chances are, also to show that we think it's probably going to be a good opportunity to happen. So again, if we saw in the dictionary, it says it is likely to happen. So if it's likely to happen, then that probably gives us a good possibility. Yeah, so I think we can say it's probably a strong possibility. All right, take a look. Hey, chances are, determine, give up, right? And then finally, successfully. So we have now successfully finished our list. Now, I do have the complete list of all the words that we've defined. I will share those with us when we're finished here this morning. But now I'd like for us to try a little class activity, okay? Now, this activity is going to require using the chat. So the idea is I'm going to show you the first part of a sentence. What I would like for you to do is to finish the sentence in the chat. You could finish it with your own examples or your own answers. Let's do the first one kind of together as sort of an example. Okay, so we can use microphones for the first one, kind of as our just discussion. So, for example, it says, if you want to have better health and be in better shape, you should give up. Now, what should I give up if I want to be in better health and better shape?
Eating sugar.
So eating sugar. Okay, now I'm going to add our answers on the screen. Okay, so go ahead, guys. Give me a few more. Eating sugar.
Unhealthy food.
Okay, so I should give up unhealthy food. Oh, but those are the best kinds of food.
Smoking.
Smoking. Okay.
Drinking alcohol.
Drinking alcohol. Okay. All right. I think that's a pretty good list. All right. So I think we've got the basic idea here. All right. Excellent. Okay, guys. I think we're off to a good start. All right. So now let's use the chat. So I'm going to give everybody a chance to finish the answer in the chat. So now let's move on to number 2. Okay. Now I'm going to erase what's on the screen. So take a look at what's on number 2. Okay. So number 2 says, if you blank successfully, you will be the best employee at your company. Okay, so everybody go to the chat. How would you finish that sentence? You don't have to write the whole sentence. You just have to finish it. So if you blank successfully, you will be the best employee at your company. So let's see some answers in the chat. Okay. All right. So in this case, Carmen, hard would already be an adverb. So probably we could just say if you work successfully. Okay. Okay. All right. And again, Miriam, punctual is describing somebody. So I think we need to use a word that might be more of an action. So if we do something successfully. So maybe we could say this, Miriam, we could say if you show up successfully. Yeah. So in this case, that might work. All right. Let's see. So Raquel said learn all the processes. Okay. So yeah, that's good. Okay. That'll be good. Okay. Someone give us another example in the chat. What else could we say? If I do what successfully? Okay. Okay, well, I'll put one in the chat for us to think about. So maybe I could say if you finish your tasks. Okay. All right. So Brenda, maybe we could say if you do your job or your work successfully. Okay. Okay. All right. That all sounds good. All right. Let's try the next one. Okay. Here's number 3. Chances are your English will really improve if you blank frequently. Okay. So how would you complete that example? So if we do what frequently? Okay. All right. So if we speak, practice. Okay. Okay. If we focus on maybe we could say focus on our work or focus on homework. Probably. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we could pretty much use any of the particular domains, right? If we speak, if we write, if we read, maybe talk to our neighbors. Yeah, I think that's any of those are fine. Now that's what I'm looking for, Carmen. If you attend, now that's the answer. I think that's the best one. All right, here is number 4. Okay, here's number 4. I am determined to do what before I retire because I've never done it before. All right, so guys, this is a good chance for you to think about what's something you're determined to do before you retire. Now, I didn't want to say die because that sounded very kind of sad. So I just said before you retire. So what would you say? I'm determined to do what? What's something you're determined to do? Okay, and I see that. I like that, Carmen. That's a good one. Okay. Anyone else have an example? It doesn't even have to be a real example. It could be something else. To have vacations. Okay. Take vacations. Take lots of vacations, Brenda. Is that the idea? Okay. All right. Anybody else have an answer? Wow. Now, you mean like as a pilot, Raquel, or fly? You've certainly been in a plane before.
I can say parachuting.
Oh my goodness.
I
Okay,
don't know how bright that.
so I think maybe what you're saying is you're determined to go skydiving.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, well, may I add an answer to your part? Maybe you should also say, I am determined to check my life insurance before. Okay. Yeah, you might want to check that first. So you're determined to do that first. Okay. All right. Now, Miriam, I like yours. Okay, that's a good one, Miriam. Yeah, maybe buy a house. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. Now, you said swimming, Carmen. What do you mean? Like learn how to swim or what?
Yes, learn.
Oh, okay. So you don't know how to swim?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe take lessons.
Yeah, it's the first step.
Okay. Well, here's what you can do first. Fill your bathtub. Okay. Just fill your bathtub and then just put your feet in it. Okay. You can start.
Okay.
Yeah. Then just do this. Okay.
Okay.
You can start with that. It's a good start. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend jumping in the pool. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that. Okay. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. Well, so we're just thinking about how to use our new words. So again, all I can tell you is you got to practice using them, right? That's the important thing. So we'll probably review the vocabulary words one more time before we move on to our next lesson. So I will send you the complete list of definitions we've created with our vocabulary words. Now, for our final task for the morning, I'd like to talk a little bit about what we're thinking about for our futures. So in our lesson, if you recall, we've been talking about SMART goals, making a goal in our lives. So here's what I'd like to do. With the final part of our class time, in just a few minutes, we're going to discuss with our small group something we would like to accomplish or achieve in our own personal lives. So thinking about what we would like to do, so I decided, okay, we could create a SMART goal for next week or next month. So instead, I thought, let's give ourselves a 2-year opportunity, right? A 2-year window. Okay, now it may take you, only a year to finish or whatever your goal might be. But everybody, I want you to think right now about the next 2 years of your life. Okay, so everyone think about that for just a moment. Now, I didn't choose 5 years, right? That seems too long. I didn't choose 1 year because maybe that's not long enough. So everyone, I want you to think for just a moment about a goal you would like to achieve in the next 2 years. Okay? Now, I'm just giving you an example here on the screen. I would like to enter college and get an associate degree in nursing. Now, if you remember, when creating a goal is not just a dream. A dream is something big that we have that maybe you could accomplish in a year or 2 years, but usually when we have dreams, we don't think about that they are realistic, right? Maybe we want to be rich. Well, that's not, how are you going to do that? So instead, I want us to think about maybe a goal that we might have in our lives. So here's what we're going to do. In just a moment, you're going to go into the breakout room and talk a little bit about your goal. Something you're thinking about that you would like to accomplish in the next 2 years. Now, before we begin, it does not have to be an educational goal. Many of us may not be thinking about going back to school. Maybe you are. That's okay. But I want you to think about something you would like to accomplish in the next 2 years. Something that is going to be perhaps very important for your life. So let's take a look at the following slide. Okay, let's take a look at this following slide, because this is what you and your partner are going to use to think about each part of your goal. Now, if you remember, the SMART goal starts the letter S and finishes with the letter T. And each letter stands for, okay, remember that word, stands for an idea. So S stands for specific, right? M stands for measurable. A, achievable. R, relevant. T, time-based. Now, looking at each one of these, right? So think specifically about what your goal is. What is it specifically? Okay, so like I said, are we thinking about going back to school and getting a diploma or a degree? Or are you thinking about trying to find a job? Or are you thinking about something specific, like maybe you want to be a volunteer? Okay, these are all things for you to think about. Think about how you're going to measure it. Is there some way that you can measure this goal? Is there a test that you need to take or study for, or grades for classes that you need to study for? Is it achievable? Now, that's, I think, something important to think about. I'm going to share my goal in just a moment. And part of the problem is I'm not sure if it's achievable in 2 years. So I may have to make changes to my goal. I may have to change the time because in this case, I don't know if I have the skills yet to achieve it. Relevant, how is it going to help you in your everyday life? Is it going to give us, a chance to make more money? Is it going to give you a chance to get, like you said, a specific educational goal to help you in some way? Maybe it's a fitness goal. Maybe it's an exercise goal. Well, that's relevant, right? We want to feel better, right? Maybe we want to lose weight, for example, right? We can always lose weight. Or maybe we want to achieve, like if we want to, become a runner or, some athletic goal. And then finally, the timeline. Is it something that we feel realistic? I don't know if mine is realistic in 2 years, but I'm going to share my goal when we're finished. Okay, so the idea is my goal, I think, is specific. I think it's measurable. I'm not sure if it's achievable. I'm going to try. So maybe I don't have the right time. Maybe I need more time, or maybe it's just not possible. but I don't know. I'm going to try it. I'm going to make a goal about it. So I'm going to share mine after we're finished in our discussion. Now, guys, I want you to take a moment, think about your goal. Okay, now you don't have to write it down. You don't have to put it in the chat. Just think, what is a goal that maybe you're interested in? Okay, so think about that for just a moment. So I'll give you a moment to think about it. Okay. Okay. Now, when you go into the breakout room, I want you to think about this time. Okay, so we're going to take about 6-7 minutes or so. You're going to share your goal. And as you describe each part, how specific it is, measurable, and so on, you might find that you're making changes to your goal. Or you might, because many times we don't think about how to actually go step by step to accomplish this. So as you go through, think about it. Is it specific? What exactly is it? How will you measure the progress? What will you do? Do you have the skills you need, or do you think you need to acquire them? Do you need to take other classes if you want, or do you need to do something else to achieve your goal? How is it relevant to your everyday life? Okay, I think that's important. And then finally, what do you think is realistic? Do you think you can do it in 2 years? Do you think it might take 1 year, maybe 6 months, whatever that goal might be? It doesn't have to be a 2-year goal. Okay, I'm just giving you a 2-year sort of window to think about. I didn't want to do 5 years. That seems too long. Okay, now we're going to go into the breakout room. I don't expect you to have all the answers. Okay, this is your chance to start thinking about it. So the idea is I'll give you some time to think about it. Now, when we return, I'm going to talk a little bit about my goal. This might help us in thinking about what your plan is going to be. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I will share this link to this particular document. So let's go ahead and get our rooms set up. Okay. So I think what we'll do is I think we'll have basically 2 groups. And in each group, you'll have a chance to share a little bit with your partner. I'll share the link to that document. And like I said, we don't have to have all the answers. We don't need all the answers. We just need to talk our way through it. That can be very helpful to talk with someone else. And of course, as you're going through, maybe your partner can ask you, well, how are you going to measure it? Is it achievable? All right, so guys, we're going to go into the breakout room. And like I said, we're going to take about 6 or 7 minutes to do this exercise. All right, looks like everyone has returned. Okay, now our time's getting a little short. So again, I don't expect everybody here to have a goal clearly defined or clearly understood yet. But here's what I'd like for you to do for homework. I'm going to send you the link to this document. So if you notice, it says Creating a SMART Goal 2024. Now, the idea is, in the instructions, it says, in the form below, create one SMART goal that you would like to accomplish within the next 2 years. So again, I'm giving you a 2-year window. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to take 2 years, but I want you to think about within that 2-year window. So you'll give your email, your name. Now, I have included my example for my SMART goal. So some of you might know I talk about that I like swimming. Swimming is something I enjoy doing. So but I'm not I'm not really good at it, but I do enjoy it, and I think it's good exercise. So my starting goal, so when I was thinking about a starting goal, if you look very carefully, it says, I want to swim a greater distance than I currently can swim. Okay, so that's kind of my starting idea. But if I want to be more specific, so I came up with a specific goal. Now, I don't know if this goal is possible. It says, I want to swim 2 miles in 1 hour. So in terms of total distance, I want to swim 2 miles in 1 hour. Now, that may not be possible, okay? I may have to change it. But notice what I said. I said, how am I going to measure it? Well, one way, of course, is try to increase the number of laps. A lap is when you go across the pool 2 times, forward and back. That's 1 lap. Okay, so I want to increase the number of laps I swim each month for the next 24 months. So I'm giving myself a 2-year window. So currently I'm swimming about 20 laps. That's what I'm currently swimming. Now I do that in about 30 minutes. Okay, so I swim about 20 laps. Well, But if I want to swim 2 miles, I have to swim basically a total of 72 laps. Now that's a lot, right? That's a lot. So I have to add almost 2 laps each month for the next 2 years. Now you might say, Mr. John, you can do that, right? It's just 2 laps, right? Yeah, but that's 2 laps each month. So next month it's 22, next month it's 24, 26. It gets bigger and bigger. And is it achievable? Well, here's what I said. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's achievable. Currently, I'm swimming about a half a mile. So that's 20 laps, about a half mile in 30 minutes. So if I can swim 1 hour, that should hopefully be 1 mile. Okay, that sounds pretty good. But I want to swim 2 miles. So I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. So here's what I said. I may need to make adjustments. Okay, because I would need to double my speed to accomplish my goal. So unfortunately, I don't know if I can do that, but I'm going to try. So notice what I said. What other skills or things do I need to do? Well, maybe I need to lift weights. That might make me stronger. Maybe I should continue to modify my diet. So again, I'm not being very specific yet because I don't know. But I think all of us can agree that it's relevant because I want to be in better shape. I want to improve my health. So my health is getting better, my shape is getting better, but I want to continue to improve it. Now, finally, I said, I think a realistic deadline for this is 18 months. I think I could do it faster, but I'm not sure. I'm not a great swimmer, okay? So my ultimate goal is to swim 2 miles. So maybe I can swim 2 miles, but not in 1 hour. Maybe I need to change it. But that's kind of the beginning of this. That's the wonderful thing about making a goal. We can always make changes if we don't know it's possible. But I'm trying to think this is something that I would like to do. Okay? So I have included my example in this document. So I'm going to send you the link to this document after class. And what I would like for you to do, you've got 1 week. You've got 1 week. I would like for you to fill in the information in this document. What is your goal? How is it going to be specific? How are you going to measure it? How are you going to achieve it? Do you need some other skills? Do you need to acquire other skills? How is it relevant? How is it going to help you in your everyday life? Is it going to improve your exercise, your health? Is it going to improve your financial situation, or is it just going to make you feel better? That's important. And then finally, what do you think is the timetable? Is it going to be 2 years? Is it going to be 10 months, 8 months, whatever? If it's longer than 2 years, maybe we should change the goal. But again, maybe you don't know. That's why we try them, right? So I'm going to send you the link to this document. You've got 1 week to think about a SMART goal that you would like to accomplish. Okay? And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to give some basic information. What do you think your goal is going to be? Okay? So guys, I'd really like for you to try this. And like I said, you'll have 1 week to complete the goal. And when I send it to you in your email, which will be very soon, you can, just write what you think and I'll try to respond. All right. So guys, that's incorrect. Our next class will be Wednesday. Sorry, guys. I should have changed the date there. So anyway, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you on Wednesday, the 11th. So everybody have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.